Good morning, everyone. So I'm just on my way out to go and do a final walkthrough for one of my listings that's actually closing on Tuesday. So typically there's a few things that we do that as sellers you may not be aware of that we're actually doing busy and away in the background prior to your closing. So I thought maybe that's a good idea to talk about how we get ready for the final closing, because usually we talk a lot about how to get you a buyer, how to negotiate the contract, how all of the finances work, but we don't typically talk about what we do in the last running up maybe a week before closing. So we negotiate again with the buyer's agent about your buyer doing a final walkthrough of the property with their agent, typically the day before or the morning of closing, just to check that the home is completely empty and clean if that's what we've agreed, or if it's fully furnished and everything is in the property that we agreed would be in the property. So everything that should be in the contract that we agreed at the beginning should now have happened, and we should be in a good place for the buyer to confirm that they're happy to go ahead and complete and close with us. So I will always go ahead just before the buyer's agents go there, and I take a video of the property for myself, for your purposes as the seller, to keep for our record that the home was indeed in that condition, that we left everything that we agreed to, and that any final repairs are done, and receipts, invoices, photographs, etc. have been provided to the buyer's side. So we have completed all of the terms of the agreed contract that we agreed when we agreed the contract with your buyer. So we do that. We work with the title company and the buyer's side to make sure all the numbers, all of the balancing for the final documents that you will sign are in good order, that they're what we expect for you to sign and they are what the buyers are expecting. Sometimes we have to back and forth and recalculate slightly to make sure that all the prorations for taxes and credits, etc. are correct. So we work on that for a couple of days to make sure that that is fine, and the final documents that you will receive to sign either remotely via notary cam if you're overseas or out of state, or here if you're at the property and we come to you to come and sign the documents, usually a couple of days ahead of closing. So those are some of the things that we do. It's important, how do I leave my home before it closes? So that's a good question. Our contract actually says broom swept. So that means that, it has to be clean, tidy. It's always nice if the home has had a good clean, especially if you've lived in the home. It sometimes is a good thing to do to get a local cleaning service in, just to give it a really nice clean once you've left. You usually have enough on your plate if you're moving out of the home and you have to move furniture, etc. So sometimes that's a good thing to do, have a cleaning service come in and just clean at the end. It leaves a good impression. It's always nice as the seller to leave a home in the condition that you would like to find it. If it's a vacation home, then typically it's in great shape anyway, because it may have just had housekeeping after a guest. So it's important that those are done, and that we leave spare keys, owner's closet keys if it's a vacation home, various codes for locked pool heaters, owner's closets, those kind of things. And any manuals and instructions or those kind of things are always welcome and helpful, and I will collate them into a pack to give to your buyer's agent and your buyers. So that gives a good impression and everybody's happy on closing day and they know how everything works. Similarly, if you have alarm codes, pool service, lawn services, all of those kind of things, we can transfer those information and contact numbers over to the buyer side, just to keep everything ticking along and making them nice and smooth for you. So you may not hear as much from us on our side a few days before closing because we're busy working away on your behalf, but those are some important things to bear in mind that we are doing. And if you have questions in that run up, then of course I'm always here and my team's always here to answer them for you. But we keep you updated. We wait for something called clear to close if your buyer is using finance. So that's a really important milestone. That means the loan is ready to go and we can then start, balancing the final numbers and getting ready for closing day. So if you if you have questions during that period, always ask us, because that's what we're here for. And our lovely team over at Oliver Title Law will also always answer your questions and help with any practical matters regarding mortgage payoffs and your accountancy if you're an overseas seller. So we have all of those things taken care of Title will work with you on where your proceeds are going to be wired after closing. Just a caveat, please always double, triple, quadruple check if you receive any correspondence you weren't expecting about wire instructions. We do our best to secure you at every opportunity, but please, if you ever get something that you're not sure about, please always ask our title company. Call them, just triple check. We want to be sure that you're safe. So if you have any questions, always reach out to us. As you can tell, it's one of my favorite topics. I love to make sure that, you know, the beginning of the transaction is good for you, but the ending is super important, and we want you to get to the end of your transaction feeling calm and collected, and this has been a good experience for you. So always reach out if you have any questions. So I wish you a good day, and I hope to speak to you all soon. Take care.